Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Rosie Reese, the host and producer of Out in the Real World podcast. My hope is that if you are going through a major change in your life and are experiencing feelings of uncertainty, that this podcast would bring comfort and support to you. So, let's get started. Out in the real world. Out in the real world. I first just want to start off by thanking you as a listener for tuning in to episode 1. I just want to be transparent with you from the beginning of what you can expect from this podcast series. The first thing I want to mention is that the format and style of this series is interview style. So every week I will have a new guest and you are going to hear about their journey and their story before going into college, during college, and then life after college. The reason why I decided to focus kind of on post-grad life and adjusting in your 20s is because that is something that I am currently experiencing and going through. So because I really dealt with a lot of emotions after graduation, and I just felt like I was really passionate in the moment of all these different things that I was thinking of, it encouraged me to want to do a podcast talking about out in the real world. I'm sure a lot of you have heard from your teachers in high school or even your professors in college always use that phrase of when you are in the real world or out in the real world. And I just feel like a lot of adults use that to basically just say, get ready guys, because you have no idea what life has in store for you. And you know what? They were right about that, because after graduation, life just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm going to get into that, the ugly parts, right? Because, hey, I have to be vulnerable as well and be transparent. So, what can you expect from this series? Honestly, I want every episode to just be a raw, honest conversation with my guests. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I just want to make sure that not only does my guest feel validated in their experience, but that you as a listener feel heard and seen. I really want to eliminate the shame that comes after graduating college and not having a clue of what to do next. Or if you're in your early 20s and feel completely lost and are going through some sort of an identity crisis, whatever the case may be, is I don't think that is something that should be looked upon as being a failure or being something that is to feel bad about. Like it's part of life, the good and the bad. The reason why there is shame when we're not succeeding or things are not going as we planned or they're not happening quickly enough for us is because it's not talked about enough. The process is not discussed enough. We always hear about people once they're at that moment of finally achieving their dream, but rarely do we get to really hear someone's story from the beginning as they're going through it, as they're experiencing everything. And for me, representation is very, very important. So, I come from a lower income household. Like I said, I'm the first one in my immediate family to go to college. So, for me, I wish I would have had some sort of YouTuber or someone that I could just view and just see everything that they were going through. And so I figured, why not have a platform or a space where a lot of people that I know in college or even people that I just somehow have a connection to can discuss their story and tell you all how they're learning to navigate things or share the good parts and also the challenging parts of their lives, because maybe that will help one stranger. Maybe that will help them also feel heard and seen. I've had a lot of great conversations with guests say that after our interview, they were motivated to do something, or they just felt like, wow, like I'm not alone in going through this time period of uncertainty, because you're not. So that is my main reasoning for wanting to do a podcast like this. I am someone who loves to navigate and deal with my own emotions by myself. Rarely do I really like to be too vulnerable with people because it is very hard for me. And also I think that I don't know why, but I just have this thing, like I love being like that positive friend, and when I am going through something, I don't want to spread my negative energy, which is not a good mindset to have. But this summer, I think just going through what I did after post grad mentally, emotionally. I mean, you name it. I was really going through it. Just being able to open up to my friends, I felt so supported and encouraged by them. And honestly, like, they helped me a lot. And I've realized so many things and I'm still learning. But this time period of uncertainty, I may not know it now, but I'm sure it is something beautiful, um, that I think is probably necessary for my journey. And so, even though I may not understand why things are happening the way that they are, I do believe in God and I do believe that He has a greater purpose for me. So, in this moment, in this time period of uncertainty, I will take advantage of it. And taking advantage by it, I'm going to use this time to just create conversations, do what I love most, and that is storytelling. So, with this podcast, we are going to just really have those raw conversations about life post grad. And some of these things are good, and some of these things are a bit hard to discuss, right? Like I mentioned earlier on, I really went through a lot of self realization and thinking about our society. The first thing that came into my head, when I was going through this time period of uncertainty is I felt concerned for our country. And I felt concerned for the youth because there's something wrong about the idea that a lot of people who are graduating college have a hard time finding job opportunities within their field. The fact that a lot of people don't even hear from a lot of the companies and organizations that they apply to, they don't even get a no or anything, that is off to me. That is weird. So that is something that I started questioning, like, why is this happening? The fact that so many people feel alone and lost and confused and just like a failure when reality we're just starting is weird. And I thought that was something that I'm like, why do we feel this way? Like, why am I going through this? And the fact that people who have already gone through this experience before, right? People that are older than us, some people still put that pressure on someone who recently graduated to have everything figured out, or they kind of just like judge you and make it known by making passive aggressive comments. Like, that is weird as well. Like, this is a time period where I feel like more than ever you need a support system. More than ever you need encouragement, and not a lot of people like to give that kind of kindness or support. So, for anyone who has been in college, that community is there for you, and it is wonderful to have a community within college. But when you graduate and you leave that space, that community is no longer there. I mean, granted, you still have friendships and whatnot, but now you got to put in that effort, right, to really keep that going and having that momentum. But what I'm saying is that now you got to navigate your own journey, your own life, your own path. And it can be hard, it can be dark. And I just want to have those conversations because I want to make sure that you feel validated in your experience. Because when I started opening up to my friends, I felt so good. I just needed someone to make me realize that I wasn't alone in going through this. And I'm so grateful for my friends. I'm so grateful for my mom because I had that support system. But I know that there are people out there that might not have that. So this is your space. This is your space to feel validated and seen. The truth of the matter is, I have no idea what's happening and what will happen. A little bit about where I'm at right now. So I wanted to pursue journalism. I still want to pursue journalism. And I am applying to jobs. But in the meantime, I am working at a customer service job. And so when I have free time, that is what I was trying to navigate, is like, okay, so what am I going to do now if this is my current circumstance and my reality? And so doing this podcast, I feel like, is something that brings me joy and motivation every single day, and it just makes me excited. I'm so excited to talk to people, have something to look forward to, and this to me is my little hobby. This is something that I want to dedicate my time into while I'm still applying to jobs, while I'm still working, while I'm still figuring out things that I like to do on my own time, and that is what I'm going to do in this platform. So if you are going through that as well, join us in the conversation, and let's embrace the challenges, because in the end we're going to overcome this. And that's something that I need to learn myself too, is knowing that this is our temporary season of life. And even in seasons, like, things are necessary in order for there to be beautiful plants and crops and all of that. That sounds super cheesy, bad analogy, but what I'm saying is it's necessary for our own growth. And although we don't understand why things are happening the way they are, or why life is so challenging, or why do you feel so lost in your early 20s, I have no idea to that. I don't know the answer to that either. But we're going to figure it ourselves out day by day, and we're going to find things to be grateful for in our lives, and we are going to create our own community here where we will feel supported and seen and heard. So that is the goal for this podcast. I hope that gave you a quick little summary of what you can expect. Thank you so much for listening to this first episode, and tune in for the next one. Bye guys, have a wonderful day or night or morning.